What if I told you there's another side? Welcome to What Comes Next. We've been waiting for you.
So picture this. You just walk through the front door, right? You drop your keys in the little bowl by the door, and there it is.
The dreaded pile.
The dreaded pile. Just staring right at you from the kitchen counter. A stack of bills. Or, I mean, maybe for you it's not the bills. Maybe you're just sitting in, like, bumper-to-bumper traffic right now.
Oh, that commute.
Yeah, commuting to a 9-to-5 job that you have just completely outgrown. You're staring at the taillights in front of you, and you're just thinking, you know, I just want to generate an extra stream of income,
Right.
maybe just an extra $500 a month. But here's the catch. You don't have a fancy business degree. You have absolutely zero massive startup capital.
Nothing in the bank for a new venture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And honestly, you just have no idea where to even begin without getting, well, completely overwhelmed.
Which is it's an incredibly common feeling. And frankly, it's a very overwhelming place to be. I mean, the digital landscape promises so much, but the barrier to entry always feels like artificially high when you're just standing on the outside looking in.
Yeah, it really does. Well, welcome to Cortex Lab. This deep dive is designed exactly for that scenario. Today we're extracting a really tactical, step-by-step roadmap from Dan Allen's guide. It's called Money Making Money for Beginners.
It's a great source.
It really is. We are going to compare 3 major platforms today. So Craigslist, Fiverr, and YouTube.
The big 3.
The big 3.
Yeah.
And we'll uncover exactly how you can start from absolute zero to earn your very first dollar today, while, simultaneously building a sustainable personal brand for tomorrow.
Right. And what's so fascinating here is the overarching analogy the source uses to describe this whole multi-stream approach.
Oh, the fishing rod thing.
Yeah, the fishing rods. Building digital income, it isn't about finding one magical solution. It's really like putting 3 completely different fishing rods into a pond.
Which is a super helpful image. But let's take that analogy a bit further, because it's really about the time to pay out mechanism, right?
Yeah.
Like some of those rods are rigged for immediate, really shallow water bites.
Exactly. You cast a line and bam, you have a fish for dinner tonight.
Right. But then others are deep water lines. They require long-term patience, really careful baiting, and, an understanding of the currents to catch something that will feed you for a whole year.
Yeah. And the key takeaway from the very beginning of the source material is that all 3 of these rods require strategy over luck. You aren't just blindly throwing a hook into the water.
You're setting up systems.
Deliberate, calibrated systems, yes.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We have our 3 fishing rods,
Yeah.
Craigslist, Fiverr, and YouTube. For a total beginner who is, sitting in that traffic jam we talked about, the first question is usually, what are the actual pros and cons of these platforms? Let's start with the big one, the one literally everyone knows and watches every day, YouTube.
Right, YouTube. I mean, YouTube represents massive scale. To put it in perspective from the sources, we are talking about a platform with over 1 billion unique monthly visitors.
A billion. That is insane.
And 6 billion hours of video watched monthly. So the pro is obviously the sheer volume of the audience and the potential for passive income. Once a video is uploaded, it can theoretically earn you money while you sleep.
Sure, the dream.
But the con is pretty severe for a beginner. It is extremely slow to start.
Yeah, I feel like people forget that part.
They really do. It requires building an audience, accumulating consistent watch time, and actually gaining subscribers before you see a single penny. It is not a quick fix for a stack of bills today.
Right. YouTube is the long game. It's like planting an apple orchard. You water it, you prune it, and maybe in, 5 years, it produces a massive harvest.
Exactly.
But it does absolutely nothing for your grocery budget this weekend. Okay, so what about Fiverr?
So Fiverr is a global digital marketplace. The sources note there are over 3 million services offered there, and it's growing by roughly 4,000 new services every single day.
That's a lot of competition.
It is. But the major pro is the incredibly low barrier to entry. Services, or gigs as they call them, they start at just $5. You can offer almost any digital skill. Graphic design, voiceovers, writing, you name it.
But wait, with 3 million services, the competition has to be absolutely brutal.
Oh, it is. High competition is the biggest hurdle. When you join, you have 0 reviews.
You're invisible.
You are a ghost in the machine. The challenge is that you have to somehow engineer your initial social proof to convince total strangers on the internet to trust you with their money, even if it is just $5.
So if YouTube is the slow, massive scale, and Fiverr is the high competition global marketplace, I guess that leaves Craigslist.
Yep, Craigslist is the absolute opposite of the other two.
How so?
Well, the pro is that it is strictly local, it deals in cash in hand, there are no shipping fees or algorithms to worry about, and there is 0 barrier to entry. I mean, it is free for users in most categories, and its interface has barely changed since Craig Newmark founded it in 1995.
True, it still looks like a website from 1995.
It really does, but you can post an ad in minutes.
Okay, but there are cons, right? Because it's physical.
Yeah.
You face potential safety risks meeting strangers. There is actual manual labor involved in moving items.
Right, lifting heavy things.
Yeah, and you have to deal face-to-face with bargain hunters who want to, haggle over every single dollar in your driveway.
Precisely. It is highly active physical work.
So what does this all mean for our listener? Which of these 3 offers the absolute quickest path to a first dollar earned? Like, if I need to pay for groceries by the end of the weekend, which rod am I picking up?
The sources are totally unequivocal about this. The answer is Craigslist.
Okay, but how? If I'm that person in traffic, I don't necessarily have a garage full of valuable antiques to sell. I might not have anything of value in my apartment at all.
The thing is, you don't need to. The strategy the sources outline is based on a concept called the inefficiency flip.
The inefficiency flip. Okay, let's dive deep into that because it sounds like a finance term, but we are talking about local classifieds.
It is a finance term, yeah. And it applies perfectly here. If we connect this to the behavioral economics of how people value things, an efficient market is one where everyone knows exactly what an item is worth.
Give me an example.
Okay, think of an Apple iPhone.
Right.
You can look up the exact market value of a used iPhone 13 in about 4 seconds. Everyone knows the price, the liquidity is high, so margins are razor thin. It's a highly efficient market.
Right. So I can't buy a used iPhone for $50 and sell it for $500 unless I get incredibly lucky.
Or someone is completely detached from reality.
Exactly. But an inefficient market is where buyers and sellers lack perfect information on true value. Or, and this is the important part, where their motivations are fundamentally disconnected from the cash value of the item.
Oh, I see. What does the source say about that?
The sources used appliances and furniture as prime examples. A used washing machine or a really heavy wooden desk doesn't have a strict blue book value. Furthermore, the seller's motivation isn't always financial.
They just want it gone. Yes. People often just want these large items out of their lives. They are heavy, they take up space in the garage, and the owner values the convenience of getting rid of it vastly more than they value the potential $50 or $100 they could get for it.
So they drastically undervalue the item because they are factoring in the hassle of moving it.
Right.
The friction of the transaction is way higher than the perceived value.
Exactly. They are essentially willing to pay someone in the form of giving away the item just to solve their logistical problem. And here is the exact process the author lays out to capitalize on that psychology.
Walk me through it.
You log on to your local Craigslist portal, you navigate to the for sale section, and right underneath that, there's a link that says free.
I've seen that link.
You click that. You will find items that people are literally giving away just so someone else will haul them off their property. An old washing machine, a vacuum cleaner, yard tools, maybe a dining room table.
Wait, I just go pick it up. Is it really that easy?
Well, you have to be fast. You contact them immediately because the sources warn that good deals in the free section disappear in hours. You pick it up, you take it home, you clean it up completely inside and out, and then you flip it.
You just relist it.
You relist it right back in the regular for sale section of Craigslist. Because your initial inventory cost was exactly $0, your profit margin is 100%. You can literally do this entire process in a single afternoon.
That's amazing.
You are acting as a logistics solver. You're getting paid for the friction you removed from the original owner's life.
That is wild. It really is like picking up loose change off the sidewalk, except the change is attached to a lawnmower.
Yep.
It pays for dinner tonight. But let's pause here. Earning that immediate physical cash on Craigslist sounds great in theory, right? Go get a free washing machine and sell it.
Right.
But you can't just drag a dusty appliance into your driveway, snap a really blurry photo in the dark, and expect people to rush over and hand you a $100 bill. How do you execute this professionally?
This raises a super important question, and it's where most beginners completely fail. Lesson 2 from our sources is all about visual dominance on a low budget. The author makes it very clear humans are visual creatures. The photograph is your storefront.
Make or break.
Terrible photographs lead directly to terrible sales results.
We've all seen those ads, right?
Yeah.
The ones where the camera flash is blindingly reflecting off a dirty mirror.
Oh, those are the worst.
Or the room is so dark you literally can't tell if you're looking at a sofa or a bear.
Exactly. But the sources point out an equally damaging mistake that beginners make on the exact opposite end of the spectrum.
What's that?
Taking extreme, high-resolution macro close-ups.
Wait, really? I would think high resolution is better. Like, show off the quality of the item.
You would think so, but it's a massive psychological pitfall. If you take a macro, hyper-detailed photo of a used item, the lens highlights tiny, microscopic flaws. Hairline scratches, dust particles that the naked human eye would normally just skip right over in daily use.
Oh, why?
Yeah. By zooming in that closely, you make the item look incredibly worn out. You inadvertently scare off buyers by magnifying normal wear and tear into perceived damage.
I never thought of that. You're basically giving the item a microscopic medical scan. And nobody looks good under a microscope.
Very true.
So what is the fix? Do I need to buy a professional photography tent?
Not at all. The fix requires very basic, low-cost tools. First, clean the item thoroughly. The author specifies cleaning it inside and out. Don't just wipe the top of the washing machine, Clean the lint traps, clean the dials.
Put some elbow grease into it?
Exactly. Then, for lighting, use good natural daylight if you can. If you are indoors, use a cheap hardware store halogen lamp or a simple reflector. The sources mention these cost around $14 to $20.
Super cheap.
Take well-lit average distance photos from multiple angles. You just want an honest, clear representation of the product.
Okay, so the photos are clean, they're well lit, and taken from a normal human viewing distance. What about the actual text of the ad, like the copy?
The copy needs to be concise and accurate. But there is a very specific game theory pitfall to avoid in your negotiations.
Ooh, tell me.
Never, ever say sell quickly or must sell fast in your ad.
But if I do want it gone quickly, shouldn't I signal that to buyers so they come today?
Think about the psychology of the buyer reading that. If a buyer reads, must sell today, they know you are backed into a corner. You have just surrendered all your negotiating leverage.
Oh, I see.
They will aggressively lowball you because they know you don't have the time or the patience to wait for a better offer. The author advises sticking strictly to the facts of the product, brand, model, age, and any malfunctions. Keep your titles accurate to build trust.
That makes total sense. Keep your cards close to your chest. Don't broadcast your urgency because blood in the water just attracts sharks.
Precisely.
Okay, so now my ad is up, it looks great, and people are actually responding. But we have to talk about the elephant in the room with local selling. Safety and privacy. I am not thrilled about giving my personal cell phone number to the entire internet, and I'm definitely not thrilled about inviting strangers to my living room.
And you shouldn't be. The sources dedicate a significant portion of their guidance to this exact issue. Let's tackle privacy first. The rule is never use your real phone number or your primary personal email address in a public ad.
Just because I don't want a disgruntled buyer calling me at midnight.
That's part of it, sure, but it's much bigger than that. Public marketplaces are relentlessly patrolled by automated data scraping bots.
Bots.
Yeah, these algorithms crawl Craigslist 24/7, harvesting phone numbers and emails to build massive spam lists. If you put your real number out there, you are basically volunteering for endless robocalls and phishing attempts.
Okay, so how do they contact me without me giving up my data?
The sources highly recommend a specific, totally free tool, Google Voice.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, you use it to create a secondary phone number that routes right to your real phone. This guards your privacy, it allows you to screen calls, and most importantly, lets you easily block unwanted callers or scrapers without ever compromising your actual personal number.
It's basically a necessary defense mechanism against the realities of the modern internet.
Okay, what about the physical safety aspect? Like when it's actually time to hand over the item and take the cash?
The text lays out really strict rules for the meetup. The primary rule, never meet strangers alone or in private.
Makes sense.
If the item is small enough to transport, always meet in a well-lit, busy public place. The author suggests, a Walmart parking lot or a public park during the day.
What if I'm selling something huge, though? Like that washing machine we keep talking about. I can't exactly load that into the trunk of my sedan and meet at Walmart.
Right. In that case, if you absolutely must sell a heavy item at your home, the rules adapt. You kept the front door wide open during the entire transaction.
Oh, wide open. Wide open. And, most importantly, never do it alone. Have a friend or a relative stand right there next to you while the buyer is present. Safety cannot be compromised for a quick flip.
Keep the door wide open
Yeah.
and have a friend there. It's simple, but it's such a vital boundary to set. Okay, so let's say you've done this. You did the inefficiency flip. You got the free appliance, you cleaned it up, took the average distance photos, used your Google Voice number, you met safely in public, and boom, you've got an extra $150 in your pocket.
A great feeling.
You've got some quick physical cash.
Yeah.
But let's be real, you probably don't want to haul washing machines around for the rest of your life.
Exactly. Physical flipping has a hard ceiling. It is entirely dependent on your physical energy, your vehicle capacity, and your local geography.
Right. To break that physical feeling, we have to decouple your income from your zip code. We need to transition from physical arbitrage to digital arbitrage.
And that brings us to the global marketplace of Fiverr.
Yes, Fiverr, where services or gigs start at $5. Now, I have to be honest. This is where I always get tripped up, and I know a lot of our listeners do too. Let's look at the math here.
Let's do it.
Fiverr takes a 20% cut. Right.
Correct.
So at $5 a pop, I'm taking home $4. Unless I'm a robot who can work 24 hours a day without sleeping, the math on a livable wage there just doesn't make sense to me. Am I missing something? How does anyone actually build an income stream $4 at a time?
It is the single most common reason people dismiss the platform entirely. But the sources break this down into a very strict mathematical formula. It's called the 20-minute profit rule.
Okay, walk me through how $4 turns into real money.
To make this a viable business, the author stresses that you cannot offer gigs that take hours to complete. A massive pitfall is beginners offering to write long custom essays, or debug complex software code, or design highly intricate from-scratch custom graphics for $5.
It takes too long.
Exactly. If a gig takes you 2 hours, you are making $2 an hour. You will burn out instantly.
So the rule is strictly based on time management.
The rule is that every single task you offer must take 20 minutes or less to complete. Ideally, much less. If you complete 3 gigs in an hour, you are earning a gross rate of $15 an hour.
Which is a real wage.
All right. And the math in the sources scales this up. If you can systemize this and complete 10 gigs a day, doing this part-time, that's a solid supplementary income. The sources use an example of someone earning $1,200 a month by working just a few highly focused hours a day.
Okay, but let's get real here. What kind of genuinely valuable work can actually be done in under 20 minutes, especially if I don't have a degree in graphic design or computer science?
The text provides several examples of time-tested gigs, creating Facebook timeline covers, doing minor modifications to existing logos, or creating short video intros.
Short video intros.
Yeah. One specific method mentioned involves using something called WSO software to create infographic videos.
Hold up, stop right there. WSO software. Explain that to me like I'm 5. Because if I'm working a 9 to 5 in logistics or sales, I have absolutely no idea what that acronym means, and it sounds highly technical.
It's actually the complete opposite of technical. WSO stands for Warrior Special Offers,
Right?
which is a term from internet marketing forums, but practically speaking, it refers to pre-built software templates. Imagine a highly professional animated video intro. Instead of you opening up a complex program like Adobe After Effects and animating every single frame from scratch.
Which takes days.
Which takes days, yes. Instead of that, you buy a WSO template. The animation is already entirely built.
So what is my job then?
Your job is simply data entry. The software has designated fields. You take the buyer's text, say Joe's Plumbing, you type it into the field, you hit the compile or render button, and the software spits out a pristine animated video. The heavy lifting is done by the template.
Okay, let me challenge that.
Okay.
Because if I do that, isn't that cheating? I mean, the buyer thinks I'm some master animator designing this from scratch just for them.
That is a fundamental misunderstanding of what digital arbitrage actually is. The buyer isn't paying for original bespoke art. They are paying for the final asset. And more importantly, they are paying for speed and convenience.
Convenience.
Yes, they don't want to hunt down a template, buy the software, learn how to render it, and troubleshoot errors. They gladly pay you $5 to be the assembly line worker who pulls the lever for them. You are selling convenience, not original craftsmanship.
Okay, that reframes it entirely. It's digital assembly line work. You build the factory, which is the template and the software, and then you just run the client's parts through it. A transaction takes 6 minutes to render, you made $4. That brings your effective hourly rate way up.
Exactly. It makes the math of Fiverr actually work. But as we mentioned earlier, there is a catch.
The cold start problem.
The cold start problem.
Right. When you start, your digital factory has 0 reviews. And nobody wants to be the first person to eat at an empty restaurant, especially on the internet. How do you get that very first buyer?
So the sources offer 2 approaches to this, and we really need to report on them exactly as they are laid out in the text, maintaining absolute neutrality about the tactics themselves. We are simply exploring the mechanics outlined by the author.
Understood. We're just impartially reporting what's in the book. What does it say?
The first, more traditional strategy is to rely on your real-world network. The author suggests having your friends or family members go onto Fiverr and purchase your initial gigs.
Oh.
Yeah, they pay the $5, you do the work, and they leave a legitimate positive review. This builds your initial portfolio and provides the social proof needed to convince the platform's algorithm that you are a real functioning seller.
Okay, that makes sense. It's kind of like asking your mom to be your first customer at a lemonade stand to get things moving.
Yeah.
What's the second approach?
The text outlines a much more aggressive tactic, which the author actually refers to as a secret sauce. Yeah. This involves the seller creating a secondary dummy account. The seller uses this dummy account to purchase their own gig. The text suggests doing this twice, and then leaves positive reviews for themselves from that fake account.
Wow.
Furthermore, the author mentions a tactic of sending at least 250 fake visitors to the gig.
Wait, fake visitors? Why does that matter if they aren't buying anything?
Because of how the Fiverr algorithm works. The algorithm ranks gigs based on impression metrics and conversion rates. By artificially inflating the visitor count and coupling it with those initial manufactured sales, the strategy attempts to trick the algorithm into seeing the gig as highly popular.
So it pushes it out the page.
Exactly, thereby pushing it higher in the search rankings where real buyers can finally see it.
Wow. Okay. Just to be completely clear to our listener, we are strictly reporting what is printed in the source material here. We are not endorsing or recommending that tactic.
Definitely not.
It's crucial to understand that platform rules on places like Fiverr are constantly evolving. Utilizing dummy accounts or bot traffic to manipulate ranking algorithms often strictly violates terms of service, and honestly, algorithms are incredibly sophisticated at detecting it nowadays. The risk is getting permanently banned.
Precisely. It is a tactic that exists in the wild, and the author includes it as a method to overcome the algorithmic cold start, but it carries immense risk to your long-term business. The overarching lesson, regardless of the method, is that in a global digital marketplace, social proof is the ultimate currency.
Without it, the algorithm renders you invisible.
Entirely invisible.
Okay, so we've covered the local physical hustle of Craigslist for immediate cash. We've covered the highly systematized, template-based digital tasks on Fiverr to decouple your income from your location. Let's move to the third rod in the pond. What if you want to build an asset that generates revenue completely passively over time? We have to talk about the YouTube shift.
The YouTube shift requires a completely different mental model than the other 2 platforms.
And it's funny, because everyone thinks they know how YouTube works.
Right.
The cultural narrative is, you buy a camera, you make a funny video, you go viral, and a giant bag of ad money falls on your head.
Right. That's the dream everyone is sold.
But the sources paint a radically different economic reality.
They really do. What's fascinating here is that the author clarifies a massive fundamental misconception about the platform's economy. When you join the YouTube Partner Program and monetize your channel, you are not just a filmmaker. You're not just a creator.
What are you?
You are an advertising partner.
An advertising partner. That completely changes the lens through which you view your content.
It changes everything. Your true occupation is not just making videos you enjoy. Your economic occupation is creating a brand-safe environment so that Google AdSense can comfortably place corporate commercials on your content. If you understand this, the often confusing rules of the platform suddenly make perfect sense.
Oh, this is the aha moment regarding the whole YouTube adpocalypse phenomenon we've seen over the years.
Right.
Because if I make content that is super controversial, or if I'm just engaging in constant angry rants,
Right.
even if it gets millions of views, brands like Coca-Cola or Toyota do not want their family-friendly ads playing right after I start screaming at the camera.
Exactly. Virality does not equal monetization. The text explicitly warns against maintaining a negative attitude or engaging in constant rages because it acts as a downer for the audience. And, much more importantly, advertisers will completely blacklist your channel.
So you have to be advertiser friendly.
You have to focus on the feel-good factor, or at least highly informative, safe content. Furthermore, the author points out a stark technical reality. If your target audience is highly tech-savvy and uses ad-blocking software in their browsers, you earn, in the author's exact words, not a single penny.
Wait, really? Even if I get 100,000 views?
If those 100,000 views are from users with ad blockers turned on, no ads are served. If no ads are served, your revenue is zero. You are an advertiser. You must target a demographic that actually watches or interacts with the advertisements.
That is a brutal reality check, but it makes so much sense. You have to understand the mechanism of how the money actually moves.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the production side of this. Because whenever I think of starting a YouTube channel, the barrier to entry feels incredibly high.
It can feel that way, yes.
I immediately feel like I need to spend $5,000 on a massive DSLR camera rig, cinematic lighting, and a soundproof studio just to compete with the big channels.
That is another massive pitfall the sources explicitly warn against. The author strongly advises against maxing out your credit cards on high-production web series or dramas right out of the gate. The return on investment for high-end cinematic narrative content is unbelievably hard to achieve for a beginner.
So what should a beginner use? If I'm trying to be an advertising partner, shouldn't my content look like a professional commercial?
Start with what you already have. Many successful, highly profitable creators build convincing content using just a smartphone or a reasonably priced webcam. You do not need to go into debt to prove your concept.
But hold on. Didn't we just establish during the Craigslist segment that visual dominance is everything? How do you make a standard smartphone or a cheap webcam look professional enough to retain viewers?
By mastering the environment, not the lens.
What do you mean?
Lighting is infinitely more important than the camera sensor. Just like with Craigslist, the sources reiterate using those $14 to $20 hardware store halogen lights or basic reflectors. Good, intentional lighting can make a smartphone camera look incredibly crisp and professional.
So the light does the heavy lifting.
Exactly. As your channel actually grows, proves its concept, and starts generating real AdSense revenue, then you can reinvest your profits.
Let the platform pay for the upgrades.
Exactly. The text mentions that eventually you might upgrade to a DSLR camera, which allows you to manipulate depth of field, or buying an external audio recorder like the Zoom H4n, which runs about $300, to capture pristine audio. But that is strictly for later.
Don't buy the Ferrari before you know how to drive. And definitely don't buy it before you have a road to drive it on.
Got it.
Great way to put it. What about the actual content format? If I'm doing a tutorial, say, teaching people how to use a software program, can I just show slides and do a voiceover? Because I'll be honest, I'm a little camera shy. I'd rather just hide behind the presentation.
You can, but it's a strategic mistake. The sources warn that capturing only slides or illustrations without ever showing your face results in significantly lower engagement and lost subscribers.
Why, though? If the information is good, why does my face matter?
Because of the parasocial relationship. On YouTube, you aren't just delivering data, you are building a personal connection. It builds trust. The viewer needs to look you in the eyes, even digitally, to connect with you as a human being. They subscribe to the personality just as much as the information.
Oh, that makes sense.
If you are just a disembodied voice over a PowerPoint, you are easily replaceable by the next channel. If they connect with your face and your style, you build loyalty.
Which perfectly brings us to the unifying theme of this entire deep dive. I'm looking at these three completely different platforms. You are handing over a used lawnmower in a Walmart parking lot. You are plugging text into an animation template in 15 minutes on Fiverr. You are filming a smartphone video in your bedroom about software tutorials for YouTube.
Very different activities.
On the surface, these seem entirely unrelated. But there is a single fundamental thread that ties all of this together, isn't there?
There is. Across all three of these wildly different platforms, your reputation is your ultimate currency. Lesson 5 from our sources is all about building a reliable personal brand.
Because your personal brand isn't just a cool logo you paid someone on Fiverr to make, or a kitschy username. It is a promise of reliability. It's exactly like a credit score for your online business.
My credit score, yes.
It is incredibly hard to build up. It is very easy to ruin with one bad decision, and it is absolutely essential if you want to borrow the internet's attention and money.
That is a brilliant way to conceptualize it. Let's look at how that credit score applies to each specific platform based on the mechanics we've discussed. On Craigslist, building your brand means absolute, unvarnished honesty.
Right.
It means not fudging your titles or playing games with your prices in the description.
Because if a buyer drives 30 minutes across town to meet you and the item has a massive dent you didn't photograph, your reputation in that physical transaction is totally destroyed. The sale falls through, and you just wasted everyone's time.
Exactly. Honesty is the brand there. What about Fiverr? On Fiverr, your brand is defined by top-tier customer service and rigorously managing the platform's internal metrics. The sources are very clear on this. You will deal with buyers who completely ignore your instructions, provide the wrong files, and demand things outside the scope of the $5 gig.
That sounds infuriating.
But being rude or angry with them is, quote, not acceptable under any circumstances. You must remain humble and courteous.
Hold on, I have to push back on that. If a buyer completely ignores my clearly written instructions, provides the wrong material, and then demands free extra work, I just have to smile and take the hit. That sounds incredibly exploitative to the seller. How does the author justify that?
It can feel very exploitative, but we are looking at this through the lens of algorithmic survival. The expert advice isn't about what is morally fair, it is about protecting your digital credit score. Negative feedback kills your Fiverr business overnight. Furthermore, the text talks about managing your order cancellation rate. If you get into a fight with the buyer and cancel the order, high cancellations act as a massive red flag to the algorithm.
So it marks you as a high-risk seller to the platform.
Precisely. The platform's goal is smooth transactions. If you cause friction, they stop promoting your gigs. The author advises using refunds strategically. Sometimes it is better to take a small loss, refund the difficult buyer to avoid a negative review, and keep your overall cancellation statistics hidden or as low as possible.
Wow.
It is a strategic retreat to preserve that 5-star algorithmic rating.
It's the harsh reality of playing in someone else's digital sandbox, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You play by the algorithm's rules,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and YouTube. How do you build reliability and a brand on a platform with over 1 billion users who are constantly distracted,
Relentless consistency.
not chasing the algorithm for virality?
No, virality is a spike. Consistency is a baseline. The sources state that having a strict agenda, for example, posting a new video every single Wednesday and Friday, is vastly more important than posting one mind-blowing but highly irregular video. Subscribers desire dependability.
It's like traditional television programming. I know exactly when my favorite late-night show is on. If the network just aired it randomly whenever the host felt inspired, I would never tune in. I would stop watching because it doesn't fit into the rhythm of my life.
Exactly. You are training the algorithm and your audience to expect you. Whether it's pricing a used appliance fairly so there are no surprises, politely refunding a difficult graphics client to protect your metrics, or uploading a video every Wednesday at 5 p.m. on the dot, you are building a monolithic reputation for reliability.
Let's bring this all the way back home. We have covered a massive amount of ground today, transitioning from physical space to the digital world. We started with the inefficiency flip on Craigslist, understanding the behavioral economics of why people give away valuable items, acting as a logistics solver, and turning that into 100% profit, while protecting your data from scraping bots with tools like Google Voice.
Then we explored the rigorous math behind Fiverr's 20-minute rule. We decoupled income from geography, learning how digital arbitrage and template-based WSO software ensures that a $5 gig actually translates into a highly scalable, livable hourly wage, all while carefully navigating the realities of algorithmic social proof.
Right, and finally, we shifted to the advertiser mindset required for YouTube, understanding that you are building a brand-safe environment for corporate ads, and why low-budget authenticity, hardware store lighting, and a relentless, consistent personal brand will beat an expensive camera rig every single time.
So we have to give the listener one clear action. If you are sitting there, stuck in that bumper-to-bumper traffic or staring at those bills on the counter, how do you break the cycle of inaction today?
I love this part. What is the one tangible thing they should do right now?
Open your local Craigslist directory on your phone right now. Navigate to the For Sale section and click on Free. Find one decent item, a piece of wooden furniture or a yard tool. Contact the person immediately. Claim it. Wipe it down inside and out. Take a bright, clear photo from an average viewing distance using good natural light and relist it for sale.
Do it.
Don't worry about building a YouTube empire today. Don't worry about understanding Fiverr algorithms yet. Just go out, execute the inefficiency flip, and earn that very first dollar. Break the physical inertia.
Just get the first win. It completely shifts your mental model of the world when you realize you can generate money out of thin air simply by recognizing value and moving an item from point A to point B.
It proves the concept is real, and it proves that you are capable of executing it.
It really does. But I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to ponder. Something to chew on as you finish your commute or put away those bills. Let's imagine a crazy scenario. Let's say tomorrow morning you wake up and all three of these platforms, Craigslist, Fiverr, and YouTube, were permanently shut down.
Just gone.
The servers are wiped, the companies are gone. If that happened, what is the underlying unerasable skill you're actually building by practicing these hustles today? Because it isn't just about knowing how to click upload or how to format an ad.
No, not at all.
It's about understanding human psychology. It's about recognizing inherent value where others see logistical burden. It's about learning how to present yourself as a reliable, trustworthy professional in an increasingly chaotic digital world. And those foundational skills, nobody can ever shut those down.
A very powerful perspective, and really the true value of mastering these platforms.
Thank you so much for joining us today and for listening to this Cortex Lab Deep Dive. We'll catch you on the next one.